Welcome to episode 52 of the BRASH Sports Podcast, brought to you by ICE. It's the stuff that keeps stuff cold. I'm Josh. I'm joined here with my best friend Brandon, and we've got a big episode to get into. Kind of doubling up on things since I'm heading out of town this weekend. So we got to dive right in. Brandon, how you been? What's going on with you, man?
Doing good, my friend. I'm happy we're getting a little double dose, and we haven't done this in a while. It's it's nice just to get back to the way things used to be. So hopefully we don't let it run too long here. I know Josh has been experiencing some technical difficulties early on in our pre-recording, so hopefully that doesn't linger and cause too much of an issue for episode 52, because it needs to be a good one, Josh.
Yeah, I agree. It's already a little dicey, but I think we'll pull through. And I think that, the true fans of this show will appreciate us whether or not the microphones and technology are working behind the scenes. They're going to stick it out. They're going to listen regardless. They want our picks. They want to know what's going on in our brains. So they're going to tune in regardless. So what do we got on the docket today?
We are keeping it basic, my friend. When today's starting lineup, we are going to do our NFL week in 60 or so seconds. Of course, we are going to be recapping week 4 of the NFL season. We're going to bust open the Brash Sports page. Not a whole lot to get to there. Tried finding some stories for you, but there really wasn't much. So I just found a fun topic for us to discuss for our Brash Sports page segment. And we'll update our power rankings, and we will make our week 5 picks. So there you go. There you have it. That's the slate, Josh.
Beautiful. I love it. Simplicity, man. Sometimes you just got to keep it simple.
Exactly. But there was a week 4, and we have to recap it. But we decided to do so.
Are you going to start?
Are we starting the clock?
It's going to start the clock and start the
clock. Do you have a stopwatch? Yeah, I know. It'd be nice if you had a little stopwatch and you could hold it up, because otherwise it'd be kind of difficult to. I'll have to just time myself later, but I'm not holding myself to any standard. Okay, it's 60 or so seconds, so take some, leave some.
I'll be timing you.
NFL Week 4. Here we go. David Montgomery defeated the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field on Thursday night, 34-20. The London Jaguars, they beat the Falcons in their home away from home, 23-7. The Commanders played tough in Philly, but came up short in a 34-31 overtime thriller. Josh Allen maintained his perfect home record against the Miami Dolphins in a 48-20 blowout. The Bears handed the Broncos their one and only win of the season, losing 31-28. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, ever heard of him? Ravens destroyed the Cleveland Browns 28-3. Derrick Henry all but ended the Bengals' playoff hopes. The Titans won 27-3 in Cincy, unable to overcome a 23-point deficit. The Colts lost at home to the Rams 29-23. Baker Mayfield got a huge win in New Orleans. The Bucs completely stomped the Saints 26-9. The Vikings end their losing streak at 3, beating the Panthers in Charlotte 21-13. C.J. Stroud led the Texans to their second consecutive win, dominating Pittsburgh 30-6. The Chargers won an ugly one in Inglewood, beating the Raiders 24-17. Dallas got the job done at home against the floundering Patriots 38-3. The NFC favorite 49ers win in dominant fashion yet again, beating the Cards 35-16. Zach Wilson outplayed Pat Mahomes, that's right, but the Chiefs still squeaked by the Jets 23-20. The Seahawks remain undefeated at MetLife Stadium after beating the Giants on Monday night 24-3. And that is your week 4 NFL recap in 60 or so seconds.
Nicely done. Yeah, I think you're going to be very close to the buzzer there. That was very good.
It was probably better than last week. Probably a little bit better than last week. But it's still tell you. All right. So let's move right along.
All right.
To our Brash Sports page. What do you think?
That sports page? Yeah,
let's do it. Let's do it. Today in our Brash Sports page, I couldn't find many highlights to talk about, and I was not going to talk about Taylor Swift anymore. So we're moving right in just to a little topic. that I just found interesting after 4 weeks. There are some quarterbacks that are already sitting on quite a hot seat. So we were going to touch on at least the four that I thought of. Maybe you could throw one out that I'm perhaps leaving out, and go over their stats in the first 4 weeks of the season and who we think could be the first one benched and when that's going to happen. So maybe all four of these guys. Who knows? I don't think so. But the first one that I put on the board here, again, in no particular order, but Chicago Bears quarterback Justin Fields, who has a QBR currently of 35.7. He has thrown 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. His backup is a guy by the name of Tyson Bagent. Josh, have you ever heard of Tyson Bagent?
No, but he sounds awesome.
He's a rookie. He's probably a diamond in the rough sitting back there on that bench. What do you any thoughts on Justin Fields? I mean, I hate throwing him in there because the Redskins have to play them tomorrow on Thursday night, and I feel like I'm kind of, giving them some bulletin board material by mentioning Justin Fields, but I mean, everybody on the Chicago roster has to be considered on the hot seat, I suppose, at this point. I'm not just picking on Fields.
Yeah, I mean, I think the number one person in Chicago on the hot seat is Matt Eberflus, right? If they lose Thursday night, he's going to get fired on Friday. Now,
so,
Justin Fields has shown promise throughout his career, but you cannot argue with the numbers. You can't argue with his winning percentage. I think it's one of the lowest in NFL history for starting quarterbacks. So, yeah, he's absolutely on the hot seat. I don't think he's gotten a ton of help. I think the raw talent is there, but also you look at, guys are breaking down the film on him and saying he's got open receivers and he's just not pulling the trigger. So, that's something that you just can't do in this league is hold on to the ball until you get sacked or try and run around and make moves unless that is the game plan. So I think a lot of it's on him. A lot of it's on Eberflus. I think it's just overall a poorly run situation. So he's absolutely on the hot seat. And I would definitely consider trading him, trying to get value, tanking the season, and picking up one of the hotshot young quarterbacks in this draft.
Well, all signs are pointing to them having a top 3 pick. Perhaps I heard somewhere that they could actually have.
Well, they've got Carolina's pick too. So right now, if the season ended today, they would have the number 1 and number 2 pick in the draft.
Whew. Well, I guess that would work out pretty good for them. Let's just go through the last 3 that I have listed here. Then we'll decide or make our predictions on who and when we'll see that bench first, if any. Mac Jones is who I have listed second. Of course, the New England Patriots quarterback who has a QBR 44.7. He has thrown 5 TDs, 4 interceptions. His backup is a little guy that we're familiar with named Bailey Zappi. Watch out. The Atlanta Falcons quarterback, Desmond Ridder. His QBR is really nice. It's 29.2. He's thrown 3 TDs, 3 pick'ems, and his backup is a little guy we're also familiar with in Taylor Heineke. Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett. He has to be on the hot seat with a QBR of 29.3. He's thrown 4 touchdowns, 4 picks, and his backup is Mitch Trubisky. That's the only thing right there that makes it a little difficult for me to pick Kenny Pickett, see the bench. I think they'd probably rather roll with Pickett the remainder of the way than throw Mitch Trubisky back out there. But who knows? I mean, if he's a complete and utter disaster against their top rival in the Baltimore Ravens coming up this weekend, he could be seeing the bench a lot sooner than people think, if at all. But out of those 4, Josh, who do you think is just a surefire not going to make it through the rest of the season due to their lack of performance?
I think for sure it's Desmond Ridder. I think that the Falcons have enough weapons to where there's really no excuses why he's playing so poorly. I think they'll want to see what they have in Taylor Heineke. He's shown some really good spurts of greatness in his young career. I think the issue with Mac Jones is you have Bill Belichick is a stubborn old fuck. And I think he wants to prove that he can win without Tom Brady. Mac Jones led them to the playoffs in his rookie year. People forget, but he did do that. Now, we have seen Bailey Zappi look impressive, but Mac Jones, I think, is going to start the whole year unless he gets hurt. And Kenny Pickett is in a similar situation because the Steelers know what they have with Mitch Trubisky. There's no secrets there. And I think Kenny Pickett's just going to either win them games or lose them games. They're not going to try and bench him to improve anything because they've already seen what they have with Mitch Trubisky. So I think both of them start, but Desmond Ridder is on a very short leash. I could see him getting benched very soon.
I 100% agree with that. I don't really see any of the other three quarterbacks being benched due to performance. If anything, obviously, they would lose the starting job because of an injury. The backup comes in, he wins them a couple games, and they can't justify throwing him back out there. Desmond Ridder will definitely not make it through the season. Taylor Heineke, I predicted before the season started, you might remember this, that
Yeah, you did.
he would be starting the game against the Commanders, and he's going to lead them to a win if that's the case against his old squad that let him go. So, I God, of course, now that game is coming up pretty quick. It's the game following our Thursday night game against the Bears. I hope I'm wrong, but we could see Heineke as early as this weekend. So keep an eye on that. Are there any quarterbacks that I left out, Josh, that I probably should have mentioned here?
Yeah, man. Daniel Jones, that guy is absolutely on the hot seat. He's been horrific so far. And I think Zach Wilson is clearly on the hot seat. But with the Jets, you don't really know what they're trying to get out of the season. Like they're at a point where they know Aaron Rodgers has committed to coming back next year. So they're not, they know that, and they know that they're not going to get to a Super Bowl. So if they lose games, it's actually a good thing. They get better draft picks. So they might just want to leave Zach Wilson in and give it their best shot, but also okay with losing games. Yeah, beyond that, I can't think of any offhand, but Daniel Jones, man, you got to step it up, buddy.
Yeah, I think with that contract extension alone, they will not bench him. They just won't. Even if they know it's the right move, they won't do it because they know how badly it'll look on them. So they're just going to leave him out there for the remainder of the season, no matter what happens. It's my opinion.
Yeah, but I would not be surprised if they draft a quarterback in the offseason. Look for that.
Perhaps if they have one of those disastrous years and get a top 5 pick, then absolutely you'd have to feel they're probably going to go in that direction. But then what to do with Mr. Danny Dimes, as you like to call him? All right. Well, I guess it's time to move right along into our updated power rankings as we head on into week 5 of the NFL season. Things have taken quite a turn because there was a shocker, in my opinion, with the Bills handling the Dolphins with ease. So that had to shake up everybody's top 5. But let's start with our number 5 spot, Josh. Who you got? Number 5 in your power rankings heading into week 5.
Number 5, I have got the reigning Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, who have not looked overly impressive, but the fact that they're still getting wins together when not looking impressive on offense leads me to believe that they will figure this out. Their defense is playing out of their minds. I think they're really, really good. So on a neutral field, I think they're better than the other 27 teams that I left out of this list. So Chiefs.
Yeah, no, we're in complete agreement there. I do have the Chiefs at number 5. And it is because they are finding ways to win, even when they play ugly. With the exception, of course, of the week 1 game against the Lions. But that's what true champions do. They win even when they don't perform well. And you just have to believe at some point they'll get their shit together and will start resembling the Chiefs of previous seasons. So both agree with the Chiefs at number 5. Number 4, watch this. We might have the exact same power rankings. Who knows? But number 4 will
I
tell
don't
us a lot,
know.
Josh. Who you got? Who you got?
Do you have do you have the Dallas Cowboys at number 4? Because that's who I've got. Now I could have put them higher based on the fact that they just dominated New England, who I think is better than that score line will give them credit for, but that defense is really, really fucking good. And when Dak doesn't turn the ball over, he is Mr. Get It Done. So I don't know. I'd have them at 4. I could see them higher, but at the end of the day, do I trust them against these top tier teams? No. Like, I just can't see. I could see them beating the Chiefs on a neutral field today, like right now, but these other top end teams, I don't see it. So they're at number 4 for me.
Yeah, no, I actually have the Cowboys like right at like number 6, right out of my top 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my top 4, I strongly believe could handle the Cowboys right now. And number 4, I have the Eagles. Of course, another NFC East team. And, Cowboys, they've lost to the Cardinals. The Eagles haven't lost to anybody. So I just felt it was,
Yeah.
with all due respect, got to put the Eagles in there. And I felt number 4 was most fitting for the Philadelphia Eagles, given what we've seen thus far this season. So give me the Eagles at number 4.
Yeah, I've got the Eagles at number 3. So I'm right there with you. I think on a neutral field, again, they are the best O-line, D-line combination in the league. So you're going to beat a lot of teams when you have that. Jalen Hurts, obviously, is a very capable quarterback, and I love their weapons. So I've got the Eagles in the 3 spot.
I got my last week's number 1 falling to number 3 in the Miami Dolphins. I have the Dolphins there, and it's not just because, oh, come on, they lost one game and now they dropped 2 slots. No, it's the fashion in which they lost. Okay. And I know that they have a hard time playing in Buffalo, but it just felt like this was the time to get them. This was the season to get that win in Buffalo, and end that Josh Allen streak. And they couldn't do it. Yeah, Dolphins fall to number 3 and going into week 5.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But in my number 2 spot, I've got the Buffalo Bills. I think that they are just playing better against everybody, playing out of their minds right now. Better defense than most teams. And when you have Josh Allen, you're going to win a lot of games as long as he doesn't turn the ball over. So right now, they're just on fire, and not a lot of teams could beat them on a neutral field. So give me the Bills at number 2.
Yeah, we both agreed there. We both have the Bills at number 2. So surprise, surprise. I am a little surprised with your top 5 that,
Yeah.
a team has completely fallen out of
They
let's hear where your number 1 is first, and then I'll start
Yeah, the number
picking it
1 is the
apart.
49ers. Number 1 team in the NFL that could beat any other team right now is the 49ers. They're just loaded. Christian McCaffrey is playing some insane football right now. I just don't see anybody beating them for the, foreseeable future. So give me the 49ers at number 1.
Yeah, and I have the 49ers, of course, at number 1 also. But I do find it interesting that you last week were in agreement with me. We both had Dolphins number
Yep.
1, and now they have just slipped out of your top 5 just like that. Slipperooski. That's how you do it.
Slipperooski, only because their defense is just not good. It is pedestrian as fuck. I think if they played any of the 5 teams I just listed, and by the way, they're number 6. It's not like they fucking fell out of the top 10 or anything. They're right on the outside. And I struggled a lot. This is the first week I've really struggled with this power rankings. But I think any of the 5 teams I just named would put up a lot of points on them. And I think, again, neutral field or a hostile environment, especially like when they went into Buffalo, that was really telling of how, if they don't get that offense up and running, that's it. I don't like one trick ponies in the NFL. And to me, they kind of felt like a one trick pony. So if they can't get that machine going, they're not all that great. So I have them at 6.
Keep an eye out for Josh's pick'em coming up in our Week 5 NFL pick'ems because upset alert. Get ready, everybody. He's just laying the foundation right now for it. I see what you're doing. All right. Do you want to jump right into our NFL Week 5 pick'ems?
Yeah, let's get right into it.
All right. First week with teams on a bye. We have the Cleveland Browns, the LA Chargers, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Use your 4 teams taking a rest this week 5. But we're going to, of course, kick things off with Thursday night football. It's coming up quickly, and I don't know exactly how I feel about it just yet. The 0-4 Chicago Bears are coming to Landover to take on the 2-2 Washington Commanders. The Commanders are favored by 6.5 points. The over-under at 44.5. Josh, who you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's the Commanders. I will not pick the Bears until they show me something. And going up 28-7, I think it was, against the Broncos, I was like, okay, they're here. But then they blew that game. And I said, oh, that's who they are. Them's them Bears. They are bad. They're just a really, really bad football team. And I think they're going to lose. And I think Eberflus is going to be fired on Friday. And yeah, it's just, and also Washington coming off that very emotional, super close loss, they're going to be fired up. Now, I will say this. I think it will be a close game. I saw a stat somewhere that teams that go to overtime on Sunday and have to play on Thursday, like, that don't cover the spread 95% of the time or something. So I'm sure they're a little bit gassed, but you can't pick the Bears in this spot. Fuck them. I would never pick the Bears, regardless of who they were playing and what the situation was. They're just a really bad team, so I will not pick them until they show me something.
Yeah, I'm picking the Redskins because I think the Redskins should win. They have the home field advantage. That does play a big role in these quick turnaround Thursday night football games. And I just can't pick the Bears against anybody, like you said, until they start showing me they have the ability to win a game. And they should be fired up too. I do believe it'll be extremely tight because the Skins don't make life easy on their fans. So it will be just yet another nail biter. Could be an ugly one. Could be a surprisingly exciting game. But either way, at the end of the day, give me the Commanders to get to 3-2 and the Bears to fall to 0-5. But I am a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. Just I feel like it's being set up here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sunday's early slate get things kicked off with the 2-2 Jacksonville Jaguars, who are headed to Buffalo, or excuse me, who are staying in London rather, and taking on the Buffalo Bills, who are 3-1. That's right, it's London again. I mean, I have to assume they just stayed there. It wouldn't make sense for them to fly all the way back, and yeah, so
No, they did.
they're just
They're there
camping
right
out.
now.
They are camping out in England. Bills favored 5.5 points. The over under at 48.5. And we probably don't have to spend too much time on this. Sure, the Jags look pretty good, and they're, as mentioned before, they're home away from home against the Atlanta Falcons. The Bills, a different beast. I very comfortably going with the Bills here. I think the Bills are just fired the fuck up right now.
Yeah, the Bills are just better. I mean,
Okay.
we don't have to spend a lot of time on it. It's the Bills. I
There you
wouldn't
go.
touch the spread, wouldn't touch the over under. I don't really know how this game's going to play out, but I think it's going to end up with a Bills victory.
2-2 Houston Texans, who are on a 2-game win streak. They're headed to Atlanta to take on the 2-2 Atlanta Falcons. Falcons are actually favored by 2 points, over under at 41.5. CJ Stroud has come into his own, man. He looks like a true NFL franchise quarterback. I really like what I see from him. If I still have Burrow on my fantasy team. If he drops another big fat goose egg, then I might have to make a little swapperoo with CJ Stroud because that man knows how to throw touchdowns, not interceptions, and he puts up some points these last 2 weeks. Um, I just think again, it's gonna. Yeah, I'm already thinking about the week ahead really for this one. I got the Texans. I got the Texans winning. I had the Texans winning comfortably. I just think it's a bad spot for the Falcons to get them right here. You'd think, okay, well, Falcons are coming back from their loss, and they should be pretty. No, I just I think their secondary is good for Atlanta, and that's about it. But even so, I just think right now the Texans are riding this high, and they're going to just steamroll their way right through Atlanta. And we could, again, I think we could see Taylor Heineke take some snaps on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know if Heineke's coming out, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'm on the Texans as well. They've played really well. You can pull the tape if you want of me saying that CJ Stroud would be the best quarterback of this class. And also, we both said the Texans were going to be a sneaky good team this year. Both of us said it. So, time to fucking put our money where our mouths are. I think we both picked them last week. I'm picking them again. They're not terrible. And D'Amico Ryans is going to impress people as a head coach. So I like what they're doing down there in Houston. Give me the Texans to, they're getting points in Atlanta. That might be the best bet of the week is the Texans +2.
Nobody's talking about those Texans, but they win 3 in a row. People will start taking notice. The Carolina Panthers, they have yet to win a game. They picked another guy in the draft with the first overall pick, Bryce Young. They are 0-4. They are headed to Detroit, take on the 3-1 Lions, who are currently favored by 9 points. Over under on that one, Josh, is at 45 points. Don't have to spend too much time on this unless you are making the most shocking pick of the season. I think the Lions get to 4-1 at home, but let's see what you got, Josh. Come on.
Yeah,
Surprise pick?
It would be a shocker if I went with the Panthers, but I am not here. I just think the Lions are feeling it right now. They're in a groove. The Panthers are not in a groove. The spread's a little high for me. I don't trust 9 points in most scenarios. So I don't know if I'm touching that, but the Lions should win this game, and they should win it comfortably.
Now, here is a true coin flip right here. 500 teams in the Tennessee Titans. We're going to Indy to take on the Colts. Colts slightly, ever so slightly favored by a point, and the over-under at 42.5. This is one. You could make a strong case for either of these teams coming out 3-2. You can make a case that this is going to be a tie. But again, we can't do that for our pick'ems. You're not allowed. You got to pick a winner. And I'm going to go first here. I'm going with the Colts, Josh. I am going with the Colts at home. And I know the Titans just completely spanked the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincy, but I don't give a shit. They are such a wishy-washy team. I don't care. I don't think there is momentum possibility for the Tennessee Titans. I think that just throw that shit completely out the window. It's a brand new day, and Anthony Richardson is back, right?
Yep.
Hopefully this weekend. So, give me the Colts getting the surprising 3-2 and putting the Titans at 2-3.
Yeah, I'm on the Colts as well. So
Wow.
we both picked the Titans last week. I'm with you. They're wishy-washy. I mean, yeah, and beating up on the Bengals right now is not exactly something to hang your hat on. The Bengals are playing awful. So I like the Colts. I think they have a much bigger home and field advantage than people talk about. So, yeah, I think the Colts win pretty easy. That's another bet that I really like this week.
Oh man! Now speaking of coin flips, the New York Football Giants, Josh, at 1-3, they're headed to South Beach to take on them 3-1 Miami Dolphins. Dolphins favored by 11, over under at 50. That's right, 50. I guess it's because both these defenses, they're okay with allowing the opponent to put up some points on the board, but we're not picking scores, we're picking winners. I don't know. And Josh is a big Giants fan. You going out on a limb?
No.
No.
The Dolphins are going to win this game by 50. So I would say take the Dolphins -11, take over under 50. The score could be 50-0. And I'm not even exaggerating. It's going to be real ugly. The Giants are a really bad team. The Dolphins are in a big time revenge game scenario. It's going to be really gross to watch. The Dolphins are going to fuck the Giants up. We do not have a shot.
I don't think the Dolphins are going to shut out the Giants personally, but I do think the Dolphins could score 50 points, but I think the Giants get somewhere around 24 points. I think that they'll be able to at least get 24 points against the Dolphins defense, because you mentioned it earlier. You can't rely on that Dolphins defense. They need to put up a shit ton of points every single week.
At this point, I rely on I think the Dolphins defense is better than the Giants offense. That's how bad our offense is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we shall see. That's at least, it's part of the early slate, Josh. So you get to get that shit out of the way if things go south, and you got the red zone.
Well, I'll be watching that game in Pinehurst at the bar. I actually can't wait. It's going to be fun, and I'm going to bet the shit out of the Dolphins. So even if we lose, I'll be in good spirits. So yeah, I'll be watching that game front to back. No red zone.
Makes you feel any better? We're going to have to play him too. So don't you worry. It will. Everything comes full circle, Josh. The New Orleans Saints, they're 2-2. They are headed to Foxborough to take on the 1-3 New England Patriots, who I found it was surprising were favored by 1.5. Over under at 40. I think Vegas knows something. I know the Saints haven't been that impressive the last 2 weeks, having lost their last 2 games, but I just would have assumed that people would be a little bit higher on the Saints, or especially them being looked at as the favorite for this one, given how ugly the Pats have been playing the last couple of weeks and how bad their offense has looked. So I'm interested to see. I mean, I'm hoping we can split here, Josh. Who you got?
Yeah, I think that this is a total coin flip. I went back and forth on this pick a lot. I ended up going with the Patriots with that home field advantage and the revenge spot, and the Saints just haven't been that impressive. So I think that the Patriots win. I don't necessarily trust it enough to bet it, but I do love the under in this game. Even if it keeps dropping, if it goes into like 36, take the under still. This has like a 14-13 type game built all over it. So Patriots win an ugly low-scoring game.
67% of the nation on ESPN is going with the Saints. I was really hoping you would go with the Saints, but I am with you, and part of that 33% going with New England at home. That one just smelt bad. It just smelt like it wants you to pick the Saints, and I wasn't having any of it. I wasn't falling for that trick. I think the Saints have a decent bounce back game, a feel good game, if you will, against the Saints, and give their home crowd something to cheer for. Now, here's probably the best game of the early slate for Sunday, if that's a thing. The Baltimore Ravens are 3-1. They head to Heinz Field. It's not Heinz Field anymore, but I'm always going to call it that.
It should be.
And play the Steelers, who are 2-2. Ravens, not surprisingly, are favored. Line there is a -3.5, and the over-under is a 38 for total points scored, which just seems low in today's NFL, doesn't it? But
yeah,
maybe this is the one. Because the Ravens, they blew up the Browns last week. Granted, again, we heard the day of that Dorian Thompson-Robinson would be the starting quarterback for the Browns. So,
By the way, Deshaun Watson was medically cleared to play and decided to sit out.
That sounds about right.
That is not good. He's going to be run out of town. That's major issues because he signed a massive contract and his is fully guaranteed.
He sucks.
So he sucks, dude. What a piece of shit that is. Division rival comes to town. You're medically cleared to play and you still sit out. Dude, not good. Not a good look.
So the Ravens had a big win. Steelers, a big loss. They got their asses handed to them by the Houston Texans, which I did. That was one of my predictions for last week. I don't know if we were both on the same page of that
I
one,
was
were
on
we?
the
we
Texans. Yep.
okay, we were both on the Texans. Son of a bitch. So we're probably going to be on the same page here. I mean, why in the hell would you pick the Steelers after a game like that against a strong divisional opponent, their all-time rival, really, in the Baltimore Ravens? Give me the Steelers getting the surprising victory and having an even record when all is said and done at 3-2 with their longtime rival in the Baltimore Ravens.
Well,
That's right.
you're not going to believe this. I'm on the Steelers as well.
Damn it.
You really can't make this shit up. I thought for sure you'd be on the Ravens. You just shit all over Kenny Pickett and the Steelers earlier. But
Mhm.
no, I think this is just a big spot for them, man. This is a division home. Underdogs always tend to play really well. And Mike Tomlin knows this Ravens team like the back of his hand, and they're banged up. So I think it's a low scoring game. 38 is low, but I could see it being another very, very low scoring game. But yeah, I just have a gut feeling the Steelers are going to pull this out. So they're a big underdog pick for me this week.
All right. Well, we
It's
are
crazy.
100% in agreement thus far. Something's got to give. Something has to give
Dude,
here.
you know what's going to
Uh,
happen. Our picks are going to be so bad this week. We're agreeing way too
oh
much. That's
no!
how it
Every
always
time
happens.
we're this similar, it's a shit show. So
Yeah.
that's what sucks. The late afternoon slate, we got 4 games for our late Sunday slate before the prime time Sunday night football. Well, first one I have mentioned here, I think will actually prove to be a pretty fun game to watch. Hopefully, I get it in my local area, but it is the 4-0 Philadelphia Eagles who are headed to LA take on the 2-2 Rams. Eagles, as they should be, are favored. The line there at -4 and the over under at 50.5. Again, I think that makes perfect sense. Think we should see a fair amount of touchdowns for both these teams. Cooper Cup is back, right? Or is he just practicing? I don't know.
He's back. He's practicing. He could start if he is cleared to. His IR 4 game restriction is up. So if he's medically cleared and he's up for it, then he could play this game. Yes. I don't know if he will or not. Yeah, I think it's too early to speculate.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I went back and forth on this one. This was one yesterday. I changed my pick, Josh. I made my pick. I felt pretty good about it. And then, I dove into it a little bit more and I convinced myself otherwise.
Okay.
So therefore, I'm going with the 4-0 Eagles to get to 5-0 in LA against the Rams. I do think it'll be a tight one. And the Rams give them a game, but the Eagles come out on top. I hope I'm wrong. If we end up having a shit week, I hope this is one of the games that's definitely wrong. But yeah, I got the Eagles getting to 5-0 against the Rams.
Dude, I was on the Rams back and forth a few times. I ultimately landed on the Eagles too because I had to picture that Rams offensive line against the Eagles defensive line, and I just can see Matt Stafford on his ass all game. Even though he's getting Cooper Cup back, they're going to try and McVay is going to scheme something good. I don't think they're going to get blown out. But at the end of the day, I think the Eagles defense just makes enough plays, forces one too many turnovers, and the Eagles win a pretty close game.
Yeah, surprisingly, I'm looking at right now that 12% is what the Rams are getting on ESPN. That's a bit low. I mean, they should get a little bit more love, especially on the West Coast. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, that might be when I'm kicking myself when all is said and done. I should have stuck with the Rams.
Same,
but
dude. I really feel like
yeah.
that's going to be the one that we're going to regret because I definitely had the Rams selected for most of the week, and I changed it too.
I think bold prediction that could be one like we're looking at the scores and the scroll bar, and then like you see that the Rams are up like 17-3, and you're like, oh fuck, man, I should have taken the Rams. then the Eagles come back and they're able to squeak out the win.
Yeah.
The Cincinnati Bengals, the Bungles are back at 1-3, and they're headed to visit Glendale to take on the Cardinals at 1-3.
Beautiful
This
Glendale.
is
We spent a week in
right.
Glendale last
That's
year for
right.
the
I
Super
know.
Bowl.
I
How
know.
could you forget?
Son of a bitch. I don't know, because it was Super Bowl week. There was so much going
It was pretty
on,
chaotic.
so
Yeah,
much
yeah, yeah.
fanfare. We had to do the media day. I mean, it was hard to just keep track. I mean, that whole thing is kind of a blur. It was a fun time. I do remember that. Bengals are favored by 3 points. The over under at 44.5. Um, I don't understand the line. Vegas knows something, these sneaky sons of bitches, because I don't get it. If anything,
No.
this should be even.
Yeah.
The Bengals have just looked like dog shit, and Burrow is injured. The man is playing hurt. And the Cardinals are a physical fucking team, dude. You
Yeah.
say it every week. They'll punch you right in the mouth. Yes, they got punched in the mouth by the 49ers, but they're our number one
Who
team.
doesn't get
So
punched in the mouth by the
everyone's going to
49ers?
get
Yeah.
punched in the mouth by the 49ers. Um, so, with all that said, Josh, I'm going with the home team. I got the Cardinals getting the win against the Bengals. That's right. Getting a 2-3 and putting those Bungles in a 1-4 hole. All hope is lost for the Bengals falling to 1-4 after their trip to Arizona. So
Yeah. I mean,
it just gets worse in the desert.
I love a home underdog. I hate the Bengals this year. They're your Super Bowl team. I can't believe you're bailing on them this quickly, man. Fuck.
Dude.
You're right about that line. Something smells really, really bad. I
Stinky
mean,
poo.
this Cardinals team beat Dallas at their home field. There's no reason it shouldn't be a pick 'em. But Vegas knows something, so I'm going with the Bengals because that line was just too stinky to ignore. I had to think that they know something, and I'm going to trust Vegas on this one because I can't trust myself picking between these two teams. So I'm going with the Bengals.
Watch that one be the tie. The
Probably will be. Yeah.
All right, let's get to America's game of the week. The
Waiting all day for this game.
The New York Jets at 1-3. They're headed to Mile High to take on the Denver Broncos, who are also at 1-3. Broncos coming off of their first win of the season against the lowly Chicago Bears. Broncos are favored by 2 points, and the over/under of 43.5. Again, Vegas knows something. Stinky. I mean, the Jets played really good on Sunday night against the Chiefs, and mentioned it before, statistically, Zach Wilson outperformed Pat Mahomes, which, again, I never thought I'd utter those words, but it's a fact. And you know what? I'm just going to get right to it. I think the Jets are pissed. They feel like they let one slip away. That was a very important win. And they're going to make an example out of the shitty Denver Broncos in front of their home crowd. You're going to see Broncos fans flooding out of that place at halftime. Wow. Because the Broncos can't do anything against that Jets defense. I think the Jets are good all the way around, and they dominate the Broncos. Give me the Jets getting the win in Denver.
Yeah, I like the Jets. I like the Jets big also. This is another one of my favorite bets of the week is, Jets money line, Jets plus some points. Okay. I also love the under here. I think it's a very low scoring game because you're right. I think the Broncos really struggle to get into double digits. I think it's going to be a clash of the field goal kickers. And that's what we're going to see. And we're going to see a 15-9 type game. I don't think the Jets offense is all that high powered, but I think they have enough in the tank to get it done against the Broncos, who are going to struggle mightily against that defense. So I'm on the Jets as well, even though it was a very stinky line and it almost pulled me into Bronco territory. But I like the Jets. I can't pick the Broncos right now. They just are too shitty.
Broncos do have the 32nd ranked rush defense, but the Jets just don't seem to try to get the running game going. Maybe that'll change. Maybe you feel a little silly getting rid of Breece Hall early on in the season, but it's because they only give the guy the ball like 5 times. So, but who knows? Maybe they'll have learned and they'll watch that film Maybe Ron Rivera told them just to sit and watch hours and hours of film, and they know it's a good game plan would be running the ball against the Broncos. So keep an eye out for that. The
Mm.
Kansas City Chiefs at 3-1. They're headed to Minnesota to take on the 1-3 Vikings. Chiefs favored by 5 over under 53. Shouldn't spend too much time on this. I don't think there's a chance in hell you're taking the Kirk Cousins and the Vikings to beat the Chiefs. Could be wrong. But I think we're both have the Chiefs getting to 4-1. Is that right?
Yeah, I've got the Chiefs. I didn't it wasn't immediate though. It was not immediate. I had to think about it for a little bit. But again, I don't think that it's, you want to picture this game as Mahomes dueling with Kirk Cousins and all those weapons and high-powered offenses. I think it's the Chiefs defense that gets the job done here. I think they'll be the storyline of the year for the Chiefs. So I still like them though. I picked them, but it wasn't immediate. It wasn't a instant pick like some of these other ones.
All right. Well, there are going to be a couple fan bases, Josh, that are going to be waiting all day for that Sunday night. And that involves the Dallas Cowboys fans who are watching their team at 3-1. The 49ers undefeated at 4-0. 49ers favored by 4 points over under at 45. I mean, I have a strange feeling about it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Cause maybe it's just because it's prime time, and I have a feeling that the Cowboys will, almost have a little chip on their shoulder. And with something to prove, because this is a huge game for Dallas. Like
Huge.
if if the 49ers lose, so what? Like they'll move the fuck on. But for Cowboys, even though they're at 3-1, it almost feels like they have to win this one to shut up all the critics who are saying that they're just going to crumble when the going gets tough. And I'm one of those. Give me the 49ers to beat the Dallas Cowboys. In, in Santa Clara. And that's it. I don't have a big breakdown for you. I do think surprise, surprise, I think Christian McCaffrey has a big day. And he lights it up in the receiving game and on the ground. But that's really my only little note there. I just think that, the 49ers are just such a well-oiled machine, and they're so smooth, and they're going to know exactly how to hurt these Cowboys, and they'll get the job done. So, give me the Niners getting to 5-0.
Yeah, I'm with you on the chip on the shoulder. Dallas is fucking sick and tired of hearing how the 49ers are the best team. Dallas wants to prove that they're the best team. They're going to throw all types of pressure at Brock Purdy, but he has the best quick screen outlet in the world in Christian McCaffrey. So Shanahan's going to be scheming up something good. So I'm on the 49ers as well, and I think Christian McCaffrey probably maybe doesn't do a ton of damage on the ground, but over 10 catches, probably. Like he's going to be that quick screen, get the ball out of Brock Purdy's hands because Micah Parsons is going to be coming for that ass. I like the 49ers, but it wasn't immediate either. I mean, a lot of these games I'm like back and forth on. This was definitely one of them. I wouldn't be shocked if the Dallas Cowboys go in there and surprise everybody, but I can't pick against the 49ers right now.
Yeah,
they're just playing too well.
That's what it is. I just can't pick up against the 49ers right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the Cowboys go in there and win, I'll be thinking in the back of my head, like, shit, that was the tingle. I wouldn't be completely shocked if they're able to do it. And then, then here comes the hype train yet again. Monday Night Football. We got ourselves a thriller in Vegas. The Green Bay Packers at 2-2 taking on those Vegas Raiders at 1-3. Packers are favored by 2 points over under at 44.5. I mean, we could differ on this one. And the Raiders, what did they do last week? They had a decent game. I remember that. Can't really remember.
They had Aiden O'Connell starting in place of Jimmy Garoppolo last week, and I believe they lost.
So they had the ugly game against the Chargers. 24-17 was the final there. Surprising, given the injury to the starting quarterback. I mean, it took me a little bit of time to think about this one, but at the end of the day, my expertise tells me the Raiders suck, and their offensive line is just trash. And when your offensive line is trash, your offense is trash. So I think the Packers actually have a pretty fun time with the Raiders on Monday night. It's not going to be much of a game. Give me the Packers winning comfortably in Vegas.
All right. I'm glad that we differ on this last one because I'm on the Raiders solely
All
for the
right.
fact that they are at home. I could have flipped a coin on
Okay.
this game. I really don't have a good read on either of these teams. I've picked the Packers a few times. They've helped me out. I've picked against the Raiders a few times. They've helped me out. But this week, I'm just leaning for the Raiders just because that home field and nothing really else. Devontae Adams revenge game, maybe. I don't know. I guess we could throw that out there.
Oh yeah, there's a nice little note.
Yeah, at the end
Didn't
of
even
the
think
day,
about
man,
that.
I think the Raiders just bring it home, and I don't have a convincing reason why. In fact, I would just stay away from this game.
Yeah, I mean, again, shouldn't be spending too much time on this one, but it is the last one. So
Yeah.
the Raiders have one win, Josh. They're on a 3-game losing streak. They won week 1 17-16 against the Denver Broncos. They'll probably beat the Broncos again at week 18, and that's it. I think that the Raiders are just suck.
Yeah.
And that's really it. I don't think the Packers are that bad. I think they'll be around 500 all season long, and maybe slip a little bit underneath towards the tail end of things. But yeah, I like the Packers here. I think they're just it's a perfect matchup for them for Monday night.
Yeah, I don't disagree
Uh,
with anything that you're saying except for the pick. So, yeah, this shows what I
okay,
know. I'm flipping a
all
coin on
right.
this one.
Now we're coming up to that's our pick'ems. We're coming up to the end of the show here. I'm just throwing this out there. This is on the fly, real time, Josh. We talked about doing a parlay with our 4 underdog picks. Now, what do you think about just um putting that together maybe during the weekend? We'll call it an episode and we can throw our parlay back out there later. What do you say?
Yeah,
What do you say?
given the tech issues that we've been experiencing, I think that's a good idea. We can, yeah, maybe post it on social media, like a screen grab of it. But I like the idea of switching it up because we've been so shitty with our parlay so far. So
And bad.
we'll give you 4 underdogs that we like this weekend. I'm pretty sure Pittsburgh's gonna be one of them since we're both high on them this week.
That
And
was one of
yeah, we'll
mine.
post it on social or something and go about it that way. I think that's the smart play here.
All right. Perfect. Well, there you have it then. There is our episode 50 deuce. And I guess that's it. We will see you next week. May have a surprise guest joining us next week.
Oh shit.
Give you a little hint. Wants to talk about the coaching carousel and a little thing
Oh,
called the NHL. So
beautiful.
we'll see you next week for our episode 53. Josh, it's been real, my friend. I'll talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Peace out. Talk to you soon.
Peace.